Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 72 of the Steel City Insider podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jeremy Hritz, alongside the Jim Wexell. Jim, how are you this fine Tuesday?
Pretty beat up, Jeremy. Camp is taking its toll on the writers. We're very tired. Well, the players are fine, but the writers are very tired.
So it's the dog days of camp, not just for the players, but for the writers. You guys are worn down, sounds like.
Everybody's worn down. Everybody's tired.
Yeah.
It's time. A lot of sun, a lot of sun.
A lot of sun, a lot of fatigue is setting in, but it is an exciting week because this weekend we do get the dress rehearsal for your Pittsburgh Steelers, the second preseason game in which they will take on the Buffalo Bills. We're going to talk about that, preview that game, what we're going to be looking forward to. But we do have their first preseason contest to talk about, their 27-17 victory over the Buccaneers in Tampa. Jim and I are going to be covering all that here today. Before we do that, please make sure that you check out the Steel City Insider. Jim, I know that you're currently working on a new book, but if you haven't read On the Clock, please check that out. You can find that at jimwexell.com. Anything else that you want to give a plug to on the site?
No, let's talk football.
All right, so let's jump in. So nice win here this past Friday. The Steelers defeat the Buccaneers, and it's got to start with the quarterback and how the offense looked pretty sharp, pretty crisp there early on. And we'll get started by talking about Kenny Pickett, who looked pretty accurate and precise there on that scoring drive. Your thoughts on Pickett and his touchdown pass to George Pickens?
Well, it's funny. We talk about how great this draft class is currently. And someone brought up to me DeMarvin Leal, who's looked good too. I mean, this draft class, Broderick Jones, Darnell Washington, Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Benton, Trice, Spencer Anderson, Nick Herbig. It seems like a great class. But go back and look at last year's class. Kenny Pickett, George Pickens, DeMarvin Leal, Connor Hayward, Calvin Austin.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. So that's two really good draft classes they put together, and Kenny Pickett is the leader of them all. Yeah. And I don't know what else to say. I thought Kenny Pickett's play was pretty self-explanatory. I mean, he was decisive. He threw Pickens open, hit him in stride. That's all the things we've been wanting to see. He showed it.
Yeah. And I know you wrote about in your column that, that this is Matt Canada's year where he's had players in place. He's had the pieces in place now. And, his first few seasons, he had an older quarterback who he had to adapt his game to. But this really is the first year where he has his pieces in place. And maybe we saw a little bit of that on display on Friday night.
This is the year we can rightfully blame him if things go south again. But, he hasn't had an offensive line. It looks like he has one now. Hasn't had a quarterback. Looks like he has one now. It is Pickett's second year. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I mean, the jet sweep looks a lot better when someone with 4.3 speeds running it.
Yes, 100%. And you're speaking of Calvin Austin there, and we'll jump around a little bit just to things that stood out in that contest. But you talked about the jet sweep with Austin, but there was also the deep bomb to Austin from Mason Rudolph, which was a beauty of a throw where he got to put on display what he's shown so much in camp here this summer, that speed. And Rudolph put the ball where it was perfectly. Great explosive play, touchdown. Thoughts on Austin's performance and the throw by Rudolph?
Well, Austin is fast and he can play, and he's no Dree Archer. He can carry his pads. Same kind of size, but he looked good again in practice today. Mason Rudolph throws the most beautiful deep ball, but you're standing on the sideline and he throws an out, and it doesn't look like it's going to make it. He just doesn't have the arm strength, and he throws those deep balls beautifully. So he's got that. He knows how to rainbow arch it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And then if we look at the backup quarterback, the number 2, Trubisky didn't play that great of a game. Probably was, well, I don't know if he was the worst of the 4 quarterbacks that played, but he, wasn't at the top of the list. But Rudolph did outplay him. And your guy, the one guy that you wanted to see play, the 4-string quarterback, did get some reps in this contest. But it's probably safe to say he's not going to have a spot on this roster. But do you still think he has a chance for the practice squad?
Oh, we'll see. The coaches know what he knows. I think he has a strong arm, but he didn't play well. And the offensive line was a mess. But he didn't play well. He didn't impress. He's got to show it more. And I don't know if he's going to get another chance. Like Jordan Bird, don't fair catch the ball, son. This is your only game. This is your only chance. You got Gunnar Olszewski and Calvin Austin in front of you. So same thing with Tanner Morgan. He's not going to have another chance. Practice squad, I don't know. What was your other questions?
We're just talking about Trubisky. I think you hit on everything there.
Oh, Trubisky, yeah, he just had a bad game. He's better than Rudolph. He's the number 2. He's a good number 2, but hopefully we've heard enough of. There's been an undercurrent of Trubisky over Pickett. The analytics guys on Twitter, sending they're screaming at all the sports writers. They're going to make a change by having the sports writers tweet about whatever their analytics are. Kenny Pickett's the better quarterback, and hopefully we don't have to hear any more of that crap. So
yeah,
Trubisky's a number 2. He's a good number 2. Keep him there.
Yep, 100%. Shifting gears a bit, Jim, talking about the offensive line, one player that, I wanted to see, I'm sure a lot of people wanted to see, was rookie first-round pick Broderick Jones. Got a lot of snaps in this contest, a lot of work. Still competing in theory for potentially a starting spot, but more than likely that's not going to happen until later in the season. He did give up a sack in this contest, his first preseason action. How did you feel about his performance? But then also zooming out and looking at the totality of the offensive line, how do you feel the offensive line performed in general?
Well, it was only one drive. Ciamalo, that was the only drive he played, so it went well. It was a touchdown drive, so I'm going to assume the line played well. I didn't break down the O-line film. There was really nothing to break down. There was no real collapses anywhere. So Broderick Jones, great athlete, great feet. Those are the things you want at left tackle. Big guy, nasty disposition, finisher, still needs work with his hand usage, still needs work. He's not the starter yet. I'm not sure how soon he will be, but tackles just don't happen overnight. Dan Moore played his whole rookie season, but he didn't play all that well. This team has higher expectations than that. I will say that Chooks jumped today, and I don't know if you noticed, they seem to have a new rule this year amongst the team that if an offensive lineman jumps, he's taken out immediately. So when Chooks jumped, they yanked him, moved Dan Moore over to right tackle and put Broderick in at left tackle. And, that's no surprise, but even for one snap, they did that. That's how it's going to be going forward. I don't know if Chooks is the one tackle they've targeted that eventually needs replaced, but Dan Moore is the swing guy, even though he's a starter.
Okay. And I'm trying to think, the core 4, I know, signed that 3-year deal. I'm not sure if this is
I think next year's the last year of his contract, and I think it's going to be a lot of money, and there's a good possibility he could get the axe and be a cap savings.
Okay.
Just a guess. Because I thought they were going to cut him. I didn't think they were going to cut him. I thought there was a chance they could cut him this year before they had to pay his roster bonus. He had a big roster bonus in, I believe, March.
Okay.
They couldn't cut him and assume they were going to get their tackle in the draft.
Right. And then Kendrick Green, I know when I was out of camp, we got to see him, in that fullback starring role. He didn't obviously have a great showing there on Friday. One game, you don't want to put too much emphasis on one preseason contest, but is he in danger of losing his roster spot? If he does or continues to show something at fullback, does that save him, or how do you feel about his status right now?
Fullback could save him.
Mm-hmm.
But man, he's got to play a little better at center.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to be an emergency guy, he's somewhat viable. I don't know if he showed that. I don't know if his struggles at center are continuing or not. It's going to be a numbers game. He played a fullback for a rep today, went in motion, and he and Darnell Washington doubled cornerback Madre Harper and pushed him all the way up the hill to the dorm.
Oh man, that poor guy.
I don't know if he was talking smack or if Kendrick just, lacked awareness of why he did not need to help Darnell Washington block a cornerback. And that happened right in front of us standing there. So that was pretty amusing.
Wow. Ouch.
I don't know what to say about Kendrick. He's got to play a little better center.
Yeah.
He's the only lead fullback blocker they have. He's the only ISO guy they have. I mean, Connor Hayward is his fullback on paper, but he's not a lead blocker.
Yeah.
He can get in your way. He can do some good things. He can inline block every now and then, but he's not a natural lead blocker. And Kendrick seemed to be. So he still has a chance.
Yeah. He still has a chance. So that I'm sure that makes him feel a little bit better.
I don't know. When he has to watch his own tape, that probably makes him feel a little worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't mean to be putting him down, but you got to play better than that.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the same things that he struggled with as a rookie are still present, in year number 3, which, you're either going to grow or that's just something that's part of your game, unfortunately for him, but who knows, maybe the light bulb will go on for him too. Shifting over to the defensive side of the ball, you did highlight the inside backer position on one of your morning afters. And my love of inside linebackers, but Quan Alexander continued to shine. He's been solid in camp, but was impressive on Friday. What say you about Mr. Alexander?
I mean, all you had to do is mention his name and I smiled.
I know.
I mean, you know what I mean? I think people feel the same way. People who love watching inside linebackers. I was talking to Mike Pursuta today. He feels the same way. I mean, how are you going to keep that guy out of the lineup from what he's showing? Now, I don't know if he has fresh legs from taking the whole off season off and showing up, and whether he is that quick to diagnose or if he's just coming every snap to because he's the backup right now. But he got in on 3rd and 2. So that's kind of a rundown, but he still replaced the rundown backer, Elandon Roberts. 3rd and 2, more of a threat to pass, but that's when he stuffed the running back in the hole. I think it was for a loss or for no gain. Hey, you got to like him. He's a run and hit guy. This is the kind of guy Tomlin's been looking for ever since Lawrence Timmons, Ryan Shazier, run and hit guy. They thought Devin would be that, and he wasn't. Quan Alexander's 4th team in 4 years. Do you all of a sudden revert to pre-injury form? I don't know. He looks pretty good. And Elandon Roberts looks good. And I tell you, Cole Holcomb had a good practice today. Najee Harris cannot get open against Cole Holcomb. I don't know if Najee Harris, if that's a problem for him. I just watched him today. He really has no explosiveness, no pizzazz at all. Jalen Warren's the better running back. I don't know how many times to say it. And I don't, that Najee and I haven't seen eye to eye on things over the year. I don't want to sound like I really don't care if people don't want to be interviewed by me. It really doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't hold a grudge. So I hesitate to criticize Najee because then I told people on our site that, we had people want to know about the character of guys. I can't say everyone's a good guy. I did say, hey, it was just me and him. Maybe he just doesn't like me, and that's fine. maybe he is a good guy. He helps all those orphans everywhere.
Yeah.
Man, so forget all that. It's not personal with me. Jaylen Warren's better. Yeah. Maybe I'm stupid, but I'm not vindictive.
Yeah.
I just think Jaylen Warren's more explosive. I worry that they're going to try to feed Najee and get things rolling the slow way. Let's establish the run with Najee. And I don't see him doing it. So how many games do you waste doing that? Or Cole Holcomb is maybe the greatest coverage backer the Steelers have had. So,
hey, that would be a nice wrinkle to have in that defense, the coverage skill there from Holcomb. How about Mark Robinson?
Yeah, that's another guy who was drafted in that last year's draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he showed some real pizzazz, some real pop, some explosiveness. He left his feet to drill a back in the chest on one play. And today, again, sideline to sideline, a lot of fervor, a lot of tenacity, big time run stuffer, exciting prospect. Absolutely. He'll make the team, but that's a pretty stacked position now.
Yeah.
Nick Kwiatkowski played pretty well too. And Tanner Muse is a good special teams player, decent coverage, decent. He would have made the team last year, maybe started last year, yeah. Tanner Muse. But man, there's a lot of inside linebackers. And I have Robinson as the 4th, Kwiatkowski's the 5th, Muse is the 6th. You usually don't keep more than 4.
Yeah. So that position could be a complete 180 over the performance that we had last year.
Well, look at the defensive line too. A guy like Armon Watts is starting today. He filled in for Ogunjobi. They've give 94 Armon Watts a lot of time, and I don't know where he fits. I don't know if they're just taking a long look at him or he's been deserving of getting this many reps in practice and in the game. But they have Cam, they have Ogunjobi, they have, and I like it nose tackle. I like Braden Fehoko as opposed to Montravius Adams. So Montravius Adams is in the mix too. So that's 4 guys there. I don't know if you keep Adams and Fehoko. So let's just say 3. And then behind them is Leal 4, Loudermilk 5, because Loudermilk looked good too. He looks like he's growing into an Aaron Smith size 5 tech. I mean, he's not the athlete Aaron was, so he can't give you that surprising pass rush that Aaron could every now and then. But big time run stuffer with long arms and hold up the blockers at the line and let the running backs make plays. That Loudermilk looks like an old school Steelers 5 tech. And excuse me, Benton looked great. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe not at nose tackle again. He was playing some nose tackle, but so where does that leave me? 6. Then you got Armon Watts, 7. Well, and again, there's only 3 spots there, and they only use really 2.5 spots.
Yeah. So
you can keep 5, 6. Man, you hate to cut a good defensive lineman just because of numbers. Yeah. So, a guy like that's where Kendrick Green loses, I think, to either an extra inside linebacker or an extra defensive lineman. Even the outside linebackers are deep. 54 Golden looked really good, really explosive in the game. He came free a couple times. And boy, Nick Herbig, another great draft pick. Wow. And then the starters, so that's 4. And Quincy Roche had a really good practice today. Really good. It's funny, so guys like that start to have really good practices when they start counting the numbers and looking around and hearing the fire and during film. So, that's 5 outside linebackers. I don't know that there are any more than that, but there's some depth up front. Yeah, in the front 7.
So solid depth. Good competition, all coming together, consolidating for this weekend's dress rehearsal. What are you looking forward to on Saturday in this contest against the Bills?
Well, if what we saw, I want to see if what we saw last week was a mirage, because now they're playing the Bills, and you assume the Bills are going to play more starters than Tampa did.
Yes.
I don't know if Tampa's in free fall. They didn't look good.
Yeah.
So I temper that a little bit, but I don't want to temper it too much because it was fun. It was exciting. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, why bring me down by saying it's a preseason game against third teamers for Tampa Bay?
Right.
But Buffalo, I don't think anybody will be able to say that. I think this will be as good a caliber of competition as you can ask for in preseason. So everything we saw last week again, and now we're really all happy.
There we go. So
I'm not that I'm a fan. I'm not being a fan, but a winning team is easier to cover, right? I mean, everybody's in a better mood.
Hey, for me, I know I will be in a better mood because I'm half press, half fan. I'm a hybrid.
You can be that, and you can admit to being a fan, whereas I can't.
Right.
Even though you do begin to respect the players. They've become, I don't want to say friends, but you start to root for some of these guys. You see some of the pain and blood and guts they go through. And so you do start rooting for them. Like Pat Fryermuth come over to the sideline today again with the fist bump. You saw what I said. Hey, Muth.
Yeah.
Said it right. And he said, how's things going over here? He goes, I actually can't wait to get out of here. He goes, the fans are great, but I've had enough. I've had enough. I want to get back to a quiet environment and just deal with the media as opposed to the whole. And I just looked down at his quads. I said, how much you squat? And he said, in college, 595. I said, wow. Said, he goes, but I don't squat anymore. I just do some kind of leg presses.
Yeah.
I said, man, your quads sure look like you squat. Remember Jeff Reed? They called him Quadzilla.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Quadzilla too.
Wow.
So, but anyway, it is all fun. And you do want it to continue, and you do want them to do well, even if you're a so-called objective reporter.
Right. Right. Well, I think Muth put it perfectly there. Maybe he's speaking for the audience when they say, I've had enough. And with that is the end of episode number 72. Hopefully we prepped you for this Saturday's contest against the Bills. Jim, great stuff today. You can check out Jim's work on Still City Insider. You can give him a follow on Twitter at Jim Wexell. You can give me a follow on Twitter at Still Suddy. And we will see you back here for episode number 73. That's Joel Steed, right? 73?
No, he was 93.
93, 73. Okay.
73, I know is Kendall Simmons. Okay. Isn't Craig Wolfley 73?
See, I don't want to commit to the number now because I made the error there.
Maybe we should bring Wolf on next week in honor of his episode. Yeah.
Let's do it. All right, everybody.
I'll be on the Wolfley show tomorrow at 10 on Steeler Nation Radio with Max Starks. I'll plug Wolf, so maybe that'll help him come on with us next week.
There we go. That sounds like
okay, Jeremy.